When it comes to your writing, how do you believe it is different from other children's books out there on the market right now?
I think certainly the perspective of being an African Nova Scotian male. I was lucky enough that I get to, both of my books are set in Nova Scotia. The first one's in Halifax. The second one's in kind of a made up small town. But, there's not a lot of African Canadian male children's books right now. So I think that in one sense is unique. There's certainly others out there. There are others across Canada, but there's not a lot of us. I've always dreamed of writing fiction as well. So my first middle grade novel, Thanks a Lot Universe, came out. So that's kind of been the culmination of a dream. And then my next book, Let the Monster Out, is coming out. I've written in various capacities for most of my adult life, but now I get to live the dream a little bit.
Your second book that's coming out, Let the Monster Out, it's a little bit more on the spooky side. So can you tell us what was the inspiration?
This is one that I've just had in mind for a while. It's about a boy who moves to a new town. He's a young Black man. It's a mostly white town, so he's already kind of on the edge of what is this experience going to be like. And then strange things just start happening when he gets there. His mom starts acting differently. He notices other adults are acting a little strange. And then he starts sharing nightmares with his little brother, like they have the same dream at the same time. So I just wanted to explore, I guess, this idea of fear. Fear is a big thing for everybody, but particular for kids, I think.
I am in love with horror, and growing up, I read a lot of spooky books for sure. So what I noticed though growing up was there wasn't a lot of people that looked like me. So when it comes to the illustrations for both your books, actually, do you think that that was important to incorporate multiculturalism within your book?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my first book, when I saw the cover for the first time, this is Ezra up here in the corner. And the first time I saw that, I wasn't even prepared for just how much that would affect me, seeing a kid who, looked like I looked at 13. Because I didn't grow up reading a lot of Black characters. I grew up on Gordon Corman, who I love, the Hardy Boys, Judy Blume, all those great writers, but didn't see a lot of protagonists who looked like me. Spooky novels, particularly for kids. I think of like The Night Gardener by Jonathan Auxier or The Nest by Kenneth Oppel. They're using horror and the spookiness as a mechanism to explore something else.
For you to even mention, yeah, we're tackling our fears as children, and even as, a minority, there's many other things we're tackling as well as growing up in the world. So when it comes back to your book now, Let the Monster Out, why do you believe it was important to not only make him Black and a male, but also have him tackling all of these family issues, as you mentioned?
It's just part of life, right? I mean, kids deal with difficult issues. I mean, particularly these days, we're raising kids in the middle of a pandemic and massive climate change and social upheaval, and particularly for Black youth, right? I mean, there aren't many Black youth who get a free pass on not experiencing difficult things in life, whether it's, really serious issues or just, microaggressions in school. It's kids are tackling things, and I don't think we should shy away from giving them literature that describes the kind of situations that they're facing. Obviously, in the case of Let the Monster Out, it's a lot more exaggerated, but stories are a mechanism for kids to explore things that are happening in their lives. So I think it's important to give kids books that reflect some of the things that they're dealing with and help them feel empowered to tackle those things.
When I was growing up, a lot of kids didn't like to read until they reached middle school or high school or whatever the case may be, right? So how do you think we can continue to encourage that message?
People have this discussion all the time, and I think one of the biggest things is let kids read what they like to read, right? Like sometimes there's this pressure that kids should be reading serious books, but if a kid that loves graphic novels or comic books or, whatever, if they're reading, let them read.